I am grateful to have witnessed a miraculous change in one of my special needs students. I had a student, he was a fourth grader, a special needs student who had extremely low academic scores across all grades. The Common Core New York State exams were coming near, and the student didn't even want to come to school at that point, crying every day, leaving the classroom, so upset. Behavior problems started to increase, and I spoke to him. He said that he didn't want to take the exam. He knew he was going to fail. Now, this fourth grader was reading at a kindergarten level, and it was extremely low. Of course, how can he possibly pass this test? This test is at a level, a fourth grade. It's just much higher and it's much harder. So this is how I motivated him, and I'm grateful that God has blessed me to say the right words. I asked him, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And he said, "I want to be a basketball player." I said, "That's amazing. You want to be a professional basketball player?" And then I asked him, "What do you think you're going to do when you grow old?" Because usually basketball players don't play basketball when they're 50 or 60 years old. What are you going to do? How are you going to make money? How are you going to make a living? And he said, "I don't know." He looked down. And I said, a sports newscaster and a sports writer needs to know how to write and read. Do you want to be one? You can still play sports professionally, but once you grow old, you can do that too. You can still stay in the field and love what you do and use your skills of reading and writing. And he literally lit up. When criticizing other people, it's so incredibly difficult, especially in my case when I had a special needs student, when they already had so much criticism in their lives. What more is there to look forward to? In Parshat Devarim, it's stated, "There are things which Moshe spoke to all of Israel." End quote. Moshe Rabbeinu, Moshe our leader, criticized the Jewish people. He only criticized them by hinting to what they did wrong. He did not go on to elaborate what they did wrong. He did not give extreme examples. He did not make them feel humiliated and embarrassed. Yet he only hinted. Rabbi Yehuda Leib Hasman commented on this, that a person who is sincerely interested to make a change in their life, to truly improve their lives, they only need a hint. When you really listen, you can hear what's important. You can understand what's important. It's interesting, sometimes when we have given advice to someone and it's such amazing advice, but they're just not listening and they just don't want to hear. And the secret ingredient to the reason why is because they don't want to change. The secret ingredient in any form of success is desire. You have to want it. You don't have to have the necessary skills or background. All you have to do is want, and that will drive you to your success. So such a person looks for opportunities to make a positive changes to himself and uses his own ability to think, to fill in the details when someone gives him a hint of what they need to change. This is written in Or Yohel. Now, you can understand this. A person who wants to become wealthy uses every successful tip that other people tell them, and they actually follow through because they want to become wealthy. In the same way, we are told that regarding our spiritual growth, every single tip we hear, we need to elevate ourselves. We need to use it. A person who wants to become spiritually elevated, who wants to grow in the spiritual way, they're going to take any tips and work on them and try to become more. And it's all about trying. Success is not up to us. The outcome is not up to us. It's the effort that's up to us. who is an example of such a person who would just take any hint and grow? Rabbi Yisrael Salanter was such a person. He was an incredibly accomplished, elevated spiritual person. At one point he was visiting a shoemaker, and the shoemaker was working late at night. And Rabbi Yisrael Salanter said, "What are you doing? You're working so late at night. The candle is about to become extinguished. Why are you still working?" And the shoemaker replied, "As long as the candle is still working, it is still possible to accomplish and mend." And that's when Rabbi Yisrael Salanter said to himself, wow, if we can work physically when the candle is lit, all the more so spiritually, as long as my soul is alive, as long as I'm here, there's still a possibility to change, to work and mend and work on my soul. And that's the little hints that he received in life, and because he was a cognizant, spiritually cognizant, growing person. Moshe also said to the Jewish people, "The Almighty, the God of your fathers, should increase you 1,000 times similar to you." This is written in Devarim 1:11. When we censure other people, when we criticize other people, it is important that they hear something positive first. Just like I spoke to you about my special needs student, I constantly try to build them up. And this is one of the most impressive things about my special needs students that I can share, is that these students are oftentimes emotionally disturbed, ADHD, autistic, they're on medicine. And what impresses me the most is that even with all these things that hold them back, all these challenges, and medical challenges and behavioral challenges, neurological challenges that they have, they are able to make a change as long as you build them up. And that's so amazing to me. And I see my students who had such a difficult time dealing with their anger, dealing with their behavior, dealing with change, any type of change that they wanted to make. As long as they wanted to make it, I saw miraculous results. And this impressed them and myself and others. It's truly amazing. So why did Moshe say that the increase should be similar to you? After Moshe criticized them, again, he made them feel better. He criticized them through a hint, but then he said, "May the world be blessed with thousandfold as you," meaning each person should be 1,000 times, 1,000 people of the same person, like so many people, because he did not want to destroy them in a way where they feel so down on themselves, where they feel so low about themselves. Rabbi Leibel Eger explained that since Moshe was rebuking the people for their errors, he wanted to make certain that they would not feel depressed and discouraged by his criticism. Therefore, he told them that they shouldn't think he considered them to be evil. So, I'm going to give you a few lessons, 4 lessons that we can learn when criticizing someone. In general, when we criticize someone, it should be always with a compliment, soft criticism, and then again a compliment. For example, you can just say the person's name in a sweet way. That's already a compliment. So, sweetheart, when you came to the kitchen, I really wanted this to be that way. I really wanted things to be put away. Next time when you work in the kitchen, just put things away after yourself, okay? I just love when you make lemonade. I'd say it was towards a child. So it was a sweet way. It was a gentle way. Number 1, if you give the person positive words, then make sure they're said first and then the criticism follows. So in that order. It's so incredibly important. Nobody likes to hear criticisms. Even the most skilled person who knows how to give a criticism, they don't like to hear it themselves. We don't like to hear criticism. We like to hear good things about us, positive things about us. Number 2, if you simply criticize what they did without criticizing their good points, what you're doing is that you're making them feel awful about themselves. So let's say you criticize this person without building them up first, without pumping them up, what's going to happen is that even if they make a change later because they want to improve, because they have that spark, they will not be able to create such a change as they would have if you build them up first. So you have to pump them up first and then softly the criticism. Number three, people who are very sensitive now feel that whenever someone criticizes a detail that they have done, then that means that he automatically assumes that the person thinks they are totally worthless. Sensitive people may be extremely good, wonderful character traits, and one thing that's corrected that they have done, they feel worthless. They have tremendous low self esteem. They feel like they're being targeted as the whole person, as a whole person being wrong, as a whole person being worthless. And this is a sensitive person. So sensitive people need to be on guard that when someone criticizes them, and most people have a very hard time knowing how to criticize, so we have to just become aware that most people just don't know how to offer criticism in a constructive, skilled way. So just to be aware, sensitive people, just to be aware that this is not you as the whole person. This person is just saying things about you, one thing or two things that they don't like, that they want you to change. Now, it is also number four is do not cause yourself unnecessary pain by adding words to what the person had said in a positive way or a negative way. And I'm going to give you an example. Let's say your employer said, I wish there were so many more employees like you. You're amazing. You're the best. You come on time and compliments you. And you feel like, okay, you know what? I'm so good. You feel like you're on a high. And one time when the boss criticizes you, you feel like, oh my God, I did something wrong. This boss doesn't like me anymore. And I'm probably going to get fired. So it's either you're all in or you're all out. It doesn't work that way. So don't add unnecessary pain. The boss probably just told you what they told you because you need to correct that. People who are so good also need to understand that they're not perfect, that there's always room to grow and change, and that's beautiful. That's life. Life is meaningful and purposeful. Life is happy when there's a challenge, when there's change, when there's growth opportunities. So that's true happiness in life. Um, so when you're being criticized, if you're sensitive, just to be on guard that when you're, even if you're all good and you receive this criticism, don't add unnecessary pain. Don't add more words to it. So in general, may we merit to know how to criticize skillfully. May we merit to know how to receive hints from other people so we can better ourselves in a way where we are elevating our character traits and becoming elevated and enhanced spiritually and have tremendously um, wonderful character traits and midot. Leah Abramov, being a Mikhail.